This man needs no introduction, and I'm not going to waste any time. And I'm going to be very selfish with this first question.
Yes, sir.
You were just on stage in front of hundreds of business owners, and you told all of them you need to have a podcast. Why'd you say that?
Dude, podcast are a differentiator. You have a podcast and literally you go from being just a generalist or a specialist in the industry you're in to being an authority to a celebrity, right? And today, a podcast like this will allow you not to just be on YouTube, but you got Rumble, you've got Spotify, you've got iTunes. There's so much value. And then you can strip out your best episodes, make it into a book or a report. Like there's so much meat on the bone with a podcast, and people feel like it's such a high barrier to entry. It's not. 85% of people who start a podcast never get past 21 episodes. I just saw that stat. I'm sure you know it. So knowing that you get past your first fucking 20, 25 episodes, you're part of like an elite group and you differentiate yourself like no one else.
Yeah, everybody talks about you got to post on social media, you got to do YouTube, you got to do this and that. Well, by the time we started this podcast to now, there has been at least 1 million hours of that short form content, but podcasts and long form stuff, significantly less. So if you want to minimize the playing field, it's going long form to allow people to be with you. So you can't hide behind edits. You just have to have the conversation.
And by the way, I'm sure you know this, but long form, especially podcast that's on YouTube, if people are searching out, because YouTube is a search generated platform, right? They're searching out whatever and they find a long form version. How many micro reels do they have to see to have the same level of know, like, and trust factor that they're going to build from a long form piece of content? Like that's a high intent buyer.
Yeah. Who's going to trust you in 60 seconds versus somebody trusting you in 60 minutes?
Bingo.
So again, I was being very selfish with that. If you need a podcast, call me. I can do it for you. Next question. And again, this is more along the lines of everybody watching, people that are here, business owners, clinicians, coaches, and that sort of thing. If they want to, quote, scale in 2026, should they focus more on trying to build their business or build value and impact in the world?
Well, they go hand in hand,
okay,
right? They go hand in hand. I would say, yes, you have to focus on building your business. What part of your business do you focus on most is the processes. Scale is a byproduct of processes and systems, right? Because if you can systematize something, it becomes a rinse and repeat, and you could scale that across many locations. You could scale that across thousands or hundreds of thousands of clients and customers. And then, of course, the value part is important too. Mm-hmm. And you have to push the free line. Give some of your best stuff away for free. Add so much value to the community for free that they go, what would his paid content be like if he was coaching me, if I was being held accountable, if I was part of a community? That's what people are paying. They're not paying for the content. The content's out there on ChatGPT for everything, whether it's stock trading or health optimization, right? They're paying to be part of a community. They're paying for that accountability and support. And if you can push the free line and give so much value away and then make an irresistible offer to join your community, it's like fishing with dynamite.
Mm-hmm. What's holding men back the most?
I think these days, insecurity. I think men are more insecure than ever before. And that's because they stopped being interesting. What I was talking about on stage up there was like, do interesting shit. Dude, I grew up being a lifter. And I remember throughout my 20s and 30s saying, God's designed me to be big and strong. I'm supposed to lift weights and put it down. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to train for 6 weeks and run a marathon. And then I did 6 weeks of salsa dancing and then guitar lessons and then jujitsu and then chess and then now sign language. And all of a sudden, all these things that I do that are way out of my comfort zone, that I once said that this is not for me, I'm not meant to do this, God has not built me this way. All of a sudden, it's built so much confidence in me, and my self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence is so high. I feel like I can walk into any room and talk to anybody because we will have something in common. Mm-hmm. And when men are able to build their self-esteem through the work they do physically, mentally, emotionally, and then through these traits and new skills that they can build, you become undeniable.
Absolutely. And I do have to get this on record. You were on a podcast that we did together a couple years back. You mentioned the story about you were on an airplane and you had to subdue some guy that went absolutely crazy. Yeah. That was probably the last straw that got me into jiu-jitsu.
Good for you.
Yes. And so since then I've been training and I absolutely love it. And you're absolutely right. It has made me more of a, quote, interesting person.
Yeah.
But I'm going to flip that around. A lot of people love to look at me. I've heard it's more important to be interested than interesting. What is your take on that?
That is true. Was it Zig Ziglar that said, the more people know how much you care, the more they'll care about what you know, right?
Right.
And it is so important to be interested in others. Like people always tell me this, like, hey, you may not remember this, Bedros, but we met 6 years ago and you were so interested in me. Like you asked so many questions. You were a great conversationalist. And I realized I didn't really say much. I just asked, who are you? Just like I did today with the 20 some odd people who wanted to meet me. Who are you? Where are you from? Why did you come here? How do you know Ali? Like, what's your next mission in your business that you're going to do? People automatically think that you care more. And I truly do. You got to have a high give a shit factor. And so hopefully you're naturally a caring person, right? But if you are, ask more questions instead of vomiting. Most people will just vomit everything about them. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is why I do it. No one gives a shit until they know how much you care about them.
Right. And remember names. Be a good person.
Names. Yeah.
In the words of Mike Dolce, don't be a dickhead.
Mike Dolce nailed it.
Yeah. Bedros, I know you got to run, so I'm sincerely appreciative of your time right now. Is there anything in 2026? Again, I don't like these vague questions, but I just don't want to put you in a box to answer a specific one. So I want to ask you as a again, I'm a business owner. I don't want to overlook something as like, again, let's say I'm making, $5K a month, $10K a month, $20K a month. What does somebody that at $100K, what they do that us lower income earners just haven't learned yet? What are some of the bigger picture things that I have these 20K a month lenses on?
Yeah.
What the fuck is a 100K lens look like?
Good question. So you know that Ali used to be one of my clients, right?
Absolutely.
So I also coach a lot of entrepreneurs. And in fact, Dr. Mike was a coaching client. So many of the people in this room used to be coaching clients. They pay me $100,000 a year to coach with me. And one of the top things I teach them, and then I show them how to do it, because they go, all right, Bedros, I'm ready to have live events. Because Ali does health optimization. She wanted to have live events. I'm ready to have live events. How do I do it? I go, Ali, wrong question to ask. You have to say, who can do it for me? And so if you want to go from 20 grand a month to 100 grand to $1 million a month, you have to go, who can do this for me? When I had Fit Body Bootcamp, I started Fit Body Bootcamp from scratch, because it was just me. Once I had 500 locations, we're making millions of dollars. I started bringing in a team, right? Second in command, Bryce, he's my CEO. He allowed me to buy back my time. I took that time and the money that I have, and I was like, I want to start a supplement company, the Truly Wellness Shot. I didn't go, how do I manufacture this? I go, who can do this for me? So I went out on a hunt and found the great second in command for Trulian supplements. I hired him. I said, build a team around you. Here's the products that I have in mind. Where you're going to make it. Here's how we're going to market it. And so the difference between the $20,000 a month and the $200,000 a month entrepreneur, the $20,000 a month entrepreneur says, how can I do this? And they try and do it themselves. They're doing trivial stuff themselves. The $200,000 a month person is figuring out who can do it for me, hiring them, and then holding them accountable to that.
Got it. All right. Look, he just said that he talked to 20 men after talking to like a couple of hundred. You missed out by not being here. You could have been one of those 20 men that asked your personal question to the man, Bedros Keuilian. So you missed out. Make sure you look in the description for links on how to be in the next one. And the Bedros, everybody knows where to find you, but we're going to link everything out in the description. Is there one thing that you want to point people to, though?
Best place to find me is on YouTube.
There it is.
Bedros Keuilian.
There it is. Perfect. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.